The desert wind blew cruel and cold that night, dragging long fingers of dust across the dying town of Dustwell, a place where hope had dried up long before the rivers had. The saloon doors groaned open as a figure stumbled inside, a native woman, thin as a shadow, wrapped in a torn blanket that had once been red but now looked like the desert floor. Her eyes were hollow, but they still held a stubborn glimmer of dignity. The men at the tables fell silent, surprised at the sight of someone so fragile yet so fiercely alive. Behind the bar stood Cole Maddox, a cowboy feared and respected across 3 counties, a man whose stare could silence a room faster than a loaded rifle. He'd just returned from a long cattle drive, his boots still dusted with trail dirt, when the woman approached him slowly, trembling, as though her bones had forgotten how to hold her up. "If you can't feed me," she whispered, voice cracking like dry wood, "just let me sleep on your floor." A few men snickered, others whispered cruel guesses about who she was or what she wanted, but Cole just looked at her, really looked, and felt something shift in him, something old and heavy. Dustwell was a hard place, and kindness had become a currency rarer than gold. Cole leaned forward, studying the woman's face, the exhaustion, the desperation, and more haunting, the silent fear she seemed to carry like a wound. He didn't know her story yet, but he knew she hadn't walked into Dustwell by accident. "What's your name?" he asked gently. The woman hesitated, as though sharing it might cost her something she couldn't afford. "Aiyana," she finally said. "I came from the Red Mesa Valley. Soldiers burned our homes, people scattered, I walked for days." Her voice trailed off under the weight of memories too painful to speak. Cole felt anger simmer in his chest, not at her, but at the world that had done this to her. While the rest of the saloon watched like hungry vultures, Cole stepped around the counter and stood in front of her. "You're not sleeping on the floor," he said, and a ripple of shock moved through the room. One man sneered from the corner, "Maddox, you gonna take in every half-starved stray now?" Another laughed. "She ain't worth the trouble." Cole didn't answer them. Instead, he removed his coat and wrapped it around Aiyana's shoulders. She flinched at first, unaccustomed to tenderness, but then relaxed as warmth settled into her bones. "Come with me," he said, guiding her outside before anyone else could spit another insult. The night air was icy, but the streets were quiet. Cole led her toward his cabin on the edge of town, all the while trying to piece together the puzzle of how a woman like her had ended up alone in a desert filled with danger at every turn. Aiyana walked unsteadily, and twice she stumbled, but each time Cole caught her arm gently, patiently. "Why didn't you stay with your people?" he finally asked. Aiyana's eyes clouded at the memory. "We were taken," she said softly. "The soldiers, they came at dawn. Some ran. Some fought. I stayed behind to help the children hide in the cliffs. When I went back for my sister, she was gone. I searched for days. Then I couldn't walk anymore. I thought Dustwell might have food. I thought maybe someone here would help." Cole's jaw tightened. Dustwell wasn't known for helping anyone, not unless they had money or something worth trading. He was the closest thing the town had to a moral compass, and sometimes even he wondered if he was failing. When they reached the cabin, he lit the lantern and helped her inside. His home was small, but it was warm and safe, things she hadn't felt in a long time. He handed her a plate of food, simple stew, but Aiyana ate it like it was a feast from heaven. Cole watched her in silence, feeling an ache grow in his chest at the sight of how badly she needed this. When she finished, she tried to kneel on the floor near the door, as though afraid to intrude any further. "No," Cole said, firmly, lifting her gently. "You take the bed. I'll sleep on the chair." Aiyana shook her head in disbelief. "Why?" she whispered. "Why help me when no one else would?" Cole shrugged, trying to hide the softness in his voice. "Because someone should have." She looked at him for a long moment, her eyes shining with gratitude and sorrow. That night, while she slept for the first time in days without fear, Cole sat awake in the dim lantern light, replaying her words and wondering what monsters still haunted her steps. He didn't know yet what dangers he had invited into his home. He didn't know who might be looking for her, but he did know one thing: whatever storm Aiyana carried with her, he wouldn't let her face it alone. And as the night deepened, and the wind moaned through the cracks of the cabin, Cole Maddox, cowboy, loner, wonder, felt fate shifting around him like the first tremor before a quake. If you're enjoying this powerful story, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because the next chapter will change everything and take you deeper into a journey of courage, revenge, and redemption you won't want to miss. Cole Maddox rose at dawn, the sun bleeding orange across the desert sky, as he checked on Aiyana, who was still sleeping soundly for the first time in days. Her breathing was slow and peaceful, but he knew peace was only temporary in a world like theirs. He stepped outside to fetch water from the well when he noticed the tracks fresh, deep, and purposeful. Horses. 3 of them, and the prince stopped right near his cabin before circling back toward the hills. Someone had been watching them during the night. Cole's jaw clenched. He had no doubt who it was. Dustwell was crawling with men working for Captain Briggs, a ruthless army officer who believed anyone from the Red Mesa tribes was either an enemy or property to be claimed. If Aiyana had escaped from him, he wouldn't let her go easily. Cole returned to the cabin and found her awake, sitting upright, with fear already returning to her face. "They found me, didn't they?" she whispered. "Not yet," Cole said, "but they're close." She lowered her eyes. "You shouldn't be involved. They'll kill you. They kill anyone who helps us." Cole knelt in front of her, lifting her chin gently. "Listen to me, you're not going back to them. Not while I'm breathing." Aiyana's eyes filled with tears, but before she could respond, a loud knock shattered the morning quiet. Boom. Boom, boom. Cole grabbed his revolver and stepped to the door. "Maddox," a gravelly voice barked from outside. "Open up." Cole opened the door a crack, enough to see Captain Briggs on horseback, flanked by 2 armed soldiers. Briggs had the face of a man who smiled only when inflicting pain. "Heard you've taken in a stray," Briggs said. "A native woman. I'll need her returned." Cole didn't move. "No one here matches your description." Briggs leaned forward, smirking. "Boy, I've been hunting that woman for 3 days. She belongs to the U.S. government now. You hand her over, and I won't burn this shack to the ground with you in it." Cole stepped outside, closing the door behind him. "She's not yours," he said calmly. Briggs's smile vanished. "Everything out here is mine." Without warning, one soldier swung his rifle butt toward Cole's head, but Cole moved faster, grabbing the barrel and slamming the man into the dirt. He fired one shot into the air, forcing the others back. Aiyana, hearing the chaos, pushed open the door. "Cole, stop." Briggs saw her, his face twisting with triumph. "There!" Briggs shouted. "Grab her." Aiyana turned to run, but Cole caught her hand. "Get back inside," he yelled, pulling her behind him as the soldiers charged. Cole fired twice more, grazing one soldier's arm and shattering another's rifle. The men retreated toward their horses, shaken by the cowboy's speed and fury. Briggs glared at him with venom. "This isn't over, Maddox. Next time, I'm bringing 20 men." Cole didn't answer. He simply aimed his gun until the horsemen rode off. When the dust settled, Aiyana fell to her knees, shaking. "Cole, they'll come back. You can't fight an army." Cole holstered his gun, knelt beside her, and wiped the tears from her cheeks. "I'm not letting anyone hurt you. Not now. Not ever. But we can't stay here." He began packing supplies: water, dried meat, ammunition before saddling his horse. "We're heading for the Spirit Canyon," he explained. "Steep cliffs, narrow trails, a whole army couldn't follow us there." Aiyana hesitated, staring at him with gratitude deeper than words. "Why are you willing to risk your life for me?" she whispered. Cole paused. "Because the world's taken enough from you, and because I believe some people are meant to be protected." With that, he lifted her onto the horse and climbed behind her, steering them toward the rising sun. They rode for hours across harsh terrain, until the canyon walls rose around them, like giants carved from fire. But Briggs wasn't far behind. Cole could feel it. As they entered the canyon, he spotted movement on the cliff's friendly movement. Aiyana gasped. My people, hidden in the canyon shadows, stood surviving members of her tribe. Elders, warriors, children, those who had escaped the burning of Red Mesa. They cried out softly when they saw her, rushing forward to embrace her. Cole stepped back, letting her reunite with her people, feeling something warm and unfamiliar swell in his chest. But his relief was short-lived. Gunshots echoed across the canyon. Briggs had followed them. Cole drew his revolver and shouted orders to the tribe, guiding them into defensible position. For the next hour, the canyon thundered with gunfire, rocks shattering, dust exploding. Cole fought like a man possessed, swift, fearless, unbreakable. And when the smoke cleared, Briggs lay defeated, his army scattered. Aiyana rushed to Cole's side, helping him stand after a bullet grazed his shoulder. Her hands trembled, but her eyes were steady. "You saved us," she whispered. Cole smiled tiredly. "Guess I did what needed doing." Aiyana took his hand gently. "Stay with us. You have no home in Dustwell anymore." Cole looked at her, really looked, and realized his life had changed the moment she walked into that saloon. "Then I'll make a home here," he said, "if you want me to." Aiyana nodded, tears sparkling in her eyes. "I do." And as the sun set behind Spirit Canyon, painting the world in gold, Cole Maddox, the cowboy who once lived alone, found something he never expected: purpose, belonging, and a woman whose courage had reshaped his destiny. If you want more emotional Western stories like this, powerful, dramatic, and unforgettable, make sure you subscribe to the channel and never miss the next tale.